Hello chess lovers, I have a fantastic chess game for you played by Aron, Nimzowitsch and Siegbert Tarrasch. The game was played in 1914 in St. Petersburg. Nimzowitsch started with d4, d5 by Tarrasch, knight f3, c5, c4, e6, and of course we see this Tarrasch defense of Queen's Gambit. e3, knight f6, bishop d3, knight c6, white castles, bishop d6, b3, black castles, bishop b2, b6, knight d2, bishop b7, rook c1, queen e7, c takes d5, e takes d5, knight h4, g6, preventing any possible knight f5 move, knight retreats back, rook a d8, d takes c5, b takes c5, bishop b5, knight e4, bishop takes c6, bishop takes c6, queen c2, knight takes d2, knight takes d2, and now as you can see black has this beautiful bishop pair, and in order to make them more active, Tarrasch plays d4, sacrificing the pawn in order to target white king. And overlooking black's threat, Nimzowitsch captured on d4. It was very important to play something like e4 in order to close this bishop's diagonal. But instead we see e takes d4, which allows Tarrasch to go for one of the most beautiful combinations in chess history. You can pause the video and try to find that amazing combination. Ready? Tarrasch played bishop takes h2 check. Of course, bishop takes g2 is also winning. We see king takes h2, queen h4 check, king g1, and now comes the other bishop. Bishop takes g2. Black bishops are just undressing white king. By the way, this sacrifices of bishops reminds me of Emanuel Lasker's game played against Johann Bauer, where he sacrificed his bishops on h7 and g7. We will cover that game as well. White played f3, but what if white captures on g2? Black can play queen g4 check. If king h2, then rook d5. Queen takes c5. White is just forced to give up the queen in order to avoid getting checkmated. Rook h5 check, queen takes h5, queen takes h5. And after king g1, queen g5 check, white is also losing the knight on d2, and this is winning for black. So after bishop takes g2, we see f3, and now Tarrasch is not even hurrying to capture on f1. He plays rook e8, knight e4, queen h1 check, king f2, and bishop takes f1. d5, white is trying to create some counterplay, something like knight f6 check. By the way, if rook takes f1, then black has this queen h2 check and white is losing his queen. So we see d5, f5, kicking this knight away, queen c3, another threat is queen g7 checkmate, queen g2 check, king e3, and now comes another beautiful move. Can you find black's next move? Ready? Tarrasch played rook takes e4 check, f takes e4, f4 check. There is another line which leads to checkmate in 3 moves. Queen g3 check is stronger. If king d2, then queen f2 check followed by queen e2 checkmate. But this checkmating line starting with f4 is of course more beautiful. King takes f4, rook f8 check, king e5, queen h2 check, king e6, rook e8 check, king d7, and we see one of the most beautiful checkmates in chess history, bishop b5. Look at this amazing checkmate. During that tournament, another beautiful game was played, this time by Jose Raul Capablanca. And after the tournament, when deciding the most beautiful game of the tournament, the jury eventually gave the prize to the Cuban player. One of the possible reasons was that similar sacrifices had already been occurred in Lasker's game, but as for me, this game is beyond Capablanca's game. Your comments and questions please, and if you liked this brutal checkmate, don't forget to give the thumbs up. Good luck.